Greetings and salutations, fellow human beings of the metaverse, and also cats and robots. Welcome to another DAO Drop. As always, we are sponsored by NXM, Bittrees, and DAO Records, and we are here today with Hurricane J. All right.
All right, I'll just go ahead and jump into it and get started a little bit. So obviously, Ian and I already know you in real life. So this is going to be us asking a few questions so other people can get to know you, and then we can also be goofy and inside jokey if we need to as well. But if you could tell us a little bit about your artistic history as a musician, and just kind of where you got started and some of your music making background.
Sure. So, I think I started making music like a lot of other people when I was like 12 or 13, writing your first songs on guitar, piano, whatever you could find. But my first experience with actually getting involved with a band and playing live music was when I moved to Seattle. And that was in my early 20s. And I formed a band with two other girls. We were called Death's Three Daughters. We made a little short EP that we put out, and we played a ton of shows for several years. And then we disbanded when I had to move away from Seattle. And at that point in time, I came up with the name of Hurricane J to start doing some of my own solo material on the side.
That's
Awesome.
great. What instrument did you start on? I mean, I know you play guitar, but I think you said once that you started on piano, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, started on piano before I ever was able to get a guitar. Piano was something that was kind of around the house. And I also had, the Casio that everyone got in the 80s. Definitely played lots of Casio material. But when I finally got a guitar, I think I was 12 or 13 when I got my first guitar. I felt like that was definitely the instrument for me. Mostly I played electric, but I did start on an acoustic. And as soon as I switched to electric, I realized how much easier it was. And then, I got lazy. I wanted to always play the louder, crazy sounds that you can get out of the electric guitar.
Nice. So, do you want to talk about some of your musical influences?
Sure. Well, I feel like I have a huge array of musical influences. My all-time favorite band, as any of my friends could tell you, is Pearl Jam. And I've loved them since I was 12 and have seen hundreds of their shows. But when I was younger, I was exposed to a lot of the bands from, the 60s and the 70s. And so definitely all those bands, the big rock and roll names from that era, I've always loved. So, the Stones, the Beatles, all of those guys. I also have always been a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and even John Mellencamp, sort of country rock roots. These days, though, I think I listen to, a lot more than I listened to as a child, obviously. I listen to a lot of Cat Power. She's a big influence for me. I listen to still mostly rock and roll, I'd say, but I've sort of expanded my tastes into a lot more sort of indie rock as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you know so far with like the metaverse, like the crypto voxel spaces or crypto in general or NFTs, and just share a little bit about your journey so far with that?
Yeah, so I would say I'm a total newbie as far as all of this is concerned, which I think is fair to say of a lot of people at this point in time that aren't directly involved. Everything I know essentially has come from you, Jake. And then, my own kind of personal research that I've done based on conversations we've had and my own curiosity about things you've introduced me to. So I have a basic understanding of the crypto world, cryptocurrencies, the different types of cryptocurrencies, proof of stake. And I have a very introductory understanding of blockchain and the different ways that, things work off of the blockchain and how you build in crypto voxels. I can't do any of it myself, obviously, but I'm also fascinated by And I think you already know this from our conversations, just how things work in that world. Like, what do you do with an NFT? Once you make an NFT, like, cool, I have one. I'm so excited. But now what? And so I've asked you a lot of those questions like, hey, what do you do with your NFTs? What do you do with your art, your music that you buy? And I just find the entire thing super exciting. And I feel like it's the beginning of a gigantic shift in, a difference between our generation and what the next generation is just going to grow up knowing. And we've talked about that before, kind of like the internet coming into
Yeah.
our lives, right? Is a game changer.
Yeah, I see this as the next evolution of the internet, right? Like we're in the 90s right now, and everyone's like, what is this internet? But it's blockchain and cryptocurrencies and NFTs. So I think you're in a really great position to be getting into it so early, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
feel really excited about everything involved with it too. I can't wait to see where it goes.
awesome.
And I think as well for you, once you start getting to be a little bit more familiar with sharing your artwork through this medium, and learning that the what can you do with the aspect is something that you have a say in. As far as whoever is the collector of your work, what they can do with your NFT is really largely decided by you as the creator. So you get to explore that aspect of it. What do you want to tie with the Hurricane J at all NFT release? What do the collectors get with that?
I haven't even thought about it actually. That's something I definitely will give some thought to, because I didn't realize that would be a part of it, that I
Oh
could have
yeah.
that creative.
uh, yeah, for instance, Ian with his most recent release, the person that collects that will get a half-hour personal performance, streaming performance with him.
Awesome.
So you can really associate any level of utility or unlockable aspect with that. Even merchandising.
Yeah.
Like you could do a Daughters of the Dead Sea 7-inch with homosexual on the other side
Oh, it's so
as
good.
an unlockable. I know. I
Thinking about doing a
that's one of
7.
my favorite Daughter songs.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So I'd be
obviously like
totally down to do something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be an awesome unlockable. Is it the collector gets a 7-inch mailed to them, something like that. Something unique and physical as well, as we start to not just cater to people that are already familiar with this, but start to integrate more people in.
I think that's one of the things that's super exciting to me about NFTs and artists being able to share their art in this way, is because it seems like you retain complete creative freedom and you have a way to release and produce your art with total creative control. And I think that's going to be super appealing to all artists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. I was just having a conversation with another artist the other day that was asking me, how they should go about their first drop, and I was telling them that the exciting and anxiety-inducing part of all of this is that there's no standard. None of us know exactly what's going to hit with the audience that we're attempting to reach, or that we're growing right now. So you can just kind of do what feels right for yourself and see what works.
I love that.
So do you have a particular song picked out for this NFT?
Yes, it's called At All. ATALL. At
ATALL. Okay,
All.
so at all.
Yep.
Do you want to talk at all about the production of this, like where you recorded it, who's on the track?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like actually Jake could talk a little more about that than I could. We actually recorded and produced it all with him and his friends, and
Hmm.
I ended up recording vocals like with Jake at his place too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake, do you want to
So
talk a little bit about how that came about?
yeah. We started with an iPhone demo that Jen sent to Neil and I, and then Neil wrote some synths around it, and then I wrote some guitar for it, and then we produced it from there, and then had Jen while she was in Seattle the last time or the time before that, a little bit before the pandemic. She
Yeah.
came over and recorded vocals with me, and then we finished that up and put that out together on a compilation record.
That's
It
awesome.
turned out really cool. It was a song that at the time I wrote it was just myself and an acoustic guitar. And it was something that I made the conscious decision not to put out with any Daughters of the Dead Sea material because it wasn't the right material for the band.
Yeah.
It was a really different kind of material and it was really personal. So I sort of sat on that song for a long time, not really quite sure where its home would be. And then I think it found a really great home with Jake and Neil.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I think is really fun and exciting about the NFT space, and especially like NXM. We're seeing a lot of artists do these collaborations where they're like, in my previous, artistic avenues, I didn't have a place for this work, but you find a place, and these awesome collaborations through like, you know, different musicians in the NFT space, and especially within the NXM. So you're now currently a member of NXM, right?
Yeah, I am.
That's
New member.
nice. Well, welcome to the family. It's, I think,
Thank you.
one of the most incredible NFT groups out there in the metaverse. So
I feel lucky to be a part of it.
We're lucky to have you.
yeah, let's talk more about the artwork. Do you have artwork for this NFT?
I mean, we do have the original artwork that came with the 7-inch that we put out, and I'm happy for that to remain the artwork. I don't see really a point in changing it.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, Jake? Since that's also artwork that's
Yeah, I think that's
yours?
great. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
Yeah.
great. Um,
Are there any shout outs you have?
I think my biggest shout outs would be to Jake and Neil because not only did they get me started um, on this song in particular and give me an avenue to release it, but they really like pushed me to come up with a name and to really pursue my solo work at a time that I was kind of, in a place where I wasn't sure if I was going to keep pursuing music at that time or if maybe I was going to kind of just let things settle for a little bit. I feel like artists always sort of have that ebb and flow where here's a really productive time, super creative, just things just flow out of you, right? Ideas, songs, lyrics, music, you name it. And then there are sort of these drier times where it takes effort to come up with something. And maybe you work on a song for ages and you just can't get it quite right. So I think it was Jake's push that sort of helped me start really trying to finish songs that were halfway and to try and make an effort to channel myself back into that creative space because it's there. It's just a matter of putting in the effort to get there. So those would be really my two big shout outs.
All right, this has been our interview with Hurricane J. Future Ian, why don't you go and queue up At All? Here's the NFT At All again by Hurricane J.